Morning, welcome back to my channel. I am currently starting to document my experience with the Wegovy GLP-1 that I'm taking for weight loss. Today is Wednesday. I took my second shot on Saturday, so this is my midweek review. I'm just going to show you I went from taking notes like this to doing 1 page per day. And my goal this week was to really nail down some numbers and kind of get where okay, I know my coffees are always this much in nutritional value, certain breakfasts are that much in nutritional value. I'm just trying to get where all of that is second nature. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just look at each page real quick and see if there's anything that I want to go over with you. I'll tell you my protein is usually hovering around 80 to 90. This morning, if I can finish this breakfast, I will have 80 before I even go out the door. But I may not finish it. But I'll go over that. So part of my plan was to always have yogurt, protein shake, and blueberries every morning, and that alone boosts my protein by 23. So I first wake up, I have a coffee, then I have that yogurt concoction, and then I have an actual solid breakfast. Sometimes that's easy and sometimes that's not, and I'll go over that too. All right, Sunday after the shot, I kept wanting to stop eating. I was very full and had to space out the meal, and that's what I'm dealing with today too. My breakfast is going to be very high protein. I ended up only having half of my breakfast, and so that's, you're shooting for the real amount, and then it ends up being not that. I have been speaking to my husband. My husband does most of the cooking and preparing, and so this week we had a discussion about what a tablespoon really is, and I think I was going low and he was going high, so I actually took out a tablespoon, and we kind of I showed him what a tablespoon of mayonnaise was. So on this Sunday, breakfast took about 2.5 hours to eat. Okay, then the Monday. So after that shot, I really didn't have any weird effects or anything like that, and I really haven't had too much trouble, just little bits here and there. So on the Monday, I had my coffee, and I had my yogurt thing that I do, and I also had an iced coffee made out of mostly protein shake. My breakfast was 2 scrambled eggs and 1 piece of bacon, and I made a note that this size breakfast felt perfect. So perfect in that it was easy to eat, and I wasn't struggling. I like to have a coffee at night, and what I realized was that if I had a coffee at night, it increased everything too much as far as calories because I use cream. And so I had a Diet Dr. Pepper instead. So that was just kind of a moment of being conscious about, do I really want to just load up on calories and stuff from cream, or am I just looking for a little something? And if so, I'll have a Diet Dr. Pepper. Okay, so I was working on Monday, and kind of a high stress situation happened. Maybe not high stress, but frustration. And it was the kind of thing that in the past, not too distant past, would be I need to eat something. I'm all, and then you go to eat, and that calms you down. I don't know if other people have used food in that way, but I have. And so what happened to me that day was I was stressed out, I was frustrated, and it brought thoughts of needing to eat. And I actually think when I had that thought, it was I got nauseous for a moment, and that kind of brought me back to reality and was no, you don't really need to eat, you're not hungry. And it was viewing it from outside my body. I'm not sure if it was just the fact that I thought I wanted to eat because of my emotions and whatever chemistry that does in your body, and then it was it was over. I don't even know. In the morning that day, I had a headache, and it went away on its own, and I was in an elevated mood. I'm finding my elevated moods are a lot more now, and I don't know if that's the fact that I probably am losing weight and moving easier and breathing easier. Tuesday. In the morning, I felt smaller somehow when I woke up. I woke up early and I was tired because of it. My husband made me a burrito in a keto wrap, and it was too much and I only ate half. And I'm thinking, like, the burritos are just too, some of these plates are just too large. Like, I get psyched out before I even start. Tuesday in the daytime, I felt good, but I petered out early and came home. Okay, this was last night. So when I came home, my son had bought a pizza, and it looked awesome. It was like a vision. And I was like, you know what, you can have a half a slice. And I was gonna try it, and my husband said, that looks spicy. And I said, well, it's some Italian red peppers. They're not always spicy. And I was gonna have a half a slice. And then my son said there was like honey on it. Ooh. So I was like, never mind. I don't eat pizza. Yeah, that's just not my thing. So I just had, my dinners have been cheeseburgers. I had some bread cheese, which is not bread. It's just cheese that you can fry. Yeah, this morning when I woke up, I felt good, but I knew I was getting foot cramps. You know, when you go to stretch your legs and you can kind of feel a cramp starting. So I got up early and put electrolytes in my water. I always have water by my bedside. I was also a little queasy this morning, and so I think the electrolytes helped that. And then this morning I had coffee, I had my yogurt concoction, and I had probably half a gun as much as this. And I'm really going to struggle to eat this. I'm going to give it a good try. Excuse me. One of the things I'm running into is, like, we try and eat whatever we're going to eat before we leave the house. So this is kind of like, the reason I'm trying to eat so much is I need to get like at least half, you know, my protein in before I leave. And then when I come home, dinner's the other half. There's no middle meal. We'll see how that goes. I'll probably have to give some of this to the dog. Yeah, but things are going well. I'm already looking towards the end of the month to decide whether I'm going to stay on this. I'm pretty sure I've lost a little more weight. I want to decide by my third shot if I'm going to stay on this, because I didn't really get into it, but the pharmacy dragged out my prescription for like a week and a half. I had words with the pharmacy when we're not friends anymore. So I want to talk to the doctor like the week before my last shot to have the refill in so that I'm not delayed. Yeah, that's it. There's like not really anything new. The only other thing that I can say is that I'm definitely bending over easier and more comfortably. So whether I'm dropping things and picking them up, whether I'm weeding something, potting something on the ground in the garden, I'm moving a lot easier. It also does happen to be a little bit cooler, so that sure helps. And yeah, that's about it. Sleeping well. I'm burping here and there. I believe I'm getting signals that, you know, okay, you don't need to eat that, or I'm not really getting like you're hungry signals. But I typically, like I say, we eat at certain times, and that's just how it works for our schedule. The only other thing I'd say is if that helps you, because I know a lot of people are having trouble just even remembering to eat. So I have seen where people will actually like put timers on their watches and whatever, saying it's now time to eat. I have not started exercising, but I did find a pretty cool looking YouTube channel. It's a woman who does exercises with her mother. So her mother modifies them to like in a chair, and she does it standing, and they had a resistance band workout. That is what I'm going to start with. Now for my job, I work for Spark. So I work for, I'm a Walmart shopper and deliverer, and an Instacart and DoorDash. You know, I could do any of those. I have all of those. I'm not really worried about getting steps in because, sorry, there's someone out in my yard. I'm not worried about getting steps in because I am in and out of my van, up to the front of people's houses, all around the Walmart store. The way the Walmart app works, it'll send you to, you'll start out in produce and then you'll have to run all the way over to cosmetics, and then you're back over in produce again. I am not worried about getting steps in. I'm sure I'm doing that any day that I work. So what I want to work on is that, and just strength in general. You know, when you get to be, I'm 60 now, and when you get to be this age, you start thinking about oh, how easy you can get yourself out of the chair. What if you need to push yourself up out of a chair or up off the floor or something, and having that upper arm strength. So I'm going to work on that and let my legs fend for themselves. And I do know from when I did a carnivore, my butt will end up flat and flabby, and it'll hurt to sit down, and eventually I'll need to do some type of squats. But yeah, that's it. I'm going to work on a couple more bites of breakfast. I'm going to log it in my book. So here I write what I ate, and then I'm writing proteins, carbs, and calories. And then down the bottom, I review my day with like feelings, and if I was aching, and if I was nauseous. Okay, so we didn't have the poop talk. When I really wanted to eat, because I was frustrated, I still felt that way in the afternoon. And there was a box of Ritz over near the fridge, and I kept looking at it. So I was like, you know what? Just have a prune, because it'll be double duty. You'll be eating something. And then, so I had one prune. I sulked a little bit, and then I went outside and hanging out in the garden. And my husband came out, and I said, you know, I'm just out here right now because I've kept thinking about those Ritz, and I didn't want to keep thinking about them. So there was quite a bit of a pull that day. And I almost think, I know like stress has a cortisol reaction. Maybe that's that whole thing that says like there's a signal from your stomach to your brain. I don't know. It was pretty strong until I got over myself. Yeah, so that's a lesson on eating, but it's also a lesson on like keeping yourself in check and the reasons that you're eating. I really just, for now, I want to eat to nourish myself. I learned a long time ago that like people will actually grieve when they diet certain ways, because they grieve the enjoyment of eating, and they grieve the celebration that many times comes with eating, and your favorite foods. You know, just to even put that kind of aspect on your food, that it's like a friendly thing, your friend, not just a necessity. To say things are favorites. It's one thing if something tastes good and it's nourishing you and that's why you're eating it. It's another thing if you're only eating it because it tastes good or it brings back memories and that kind of thing. So it's definitely multi-layers, multifaceted, and you know, that's why we're all here. You know, I see a lot of people in groups saying like they feel dulled down, and to me that's like a little bit of a depression, because you all of a sudden you don't have that filling your time and filling your life, and you've got to figure out what you can do to have those happy little times during the day. And there's plenty of opportunity for happy little times during the day. So I'll see you on Shot Day, which is this Saturday. Have a great day. Hi, I'm just coming back on here. I wanted to show you the Weight Watchers things I was talking about. This is called 10-minute time crunch training. It's 5 complete workouts. It's got resistance cord with handles, and it's got an exercise tracker and a DVD. I think I just want the bands. This one is called Punch with weighted gloves. That might be cool. That'd probably do the DVD. I do have a DVD player. I'm old school like that. And then this one here is, oh, sorry, it's filthy, but it's yoga. Yoga starting kit. That might be good for me for stretching. But I'm going to try not to go, you know, all gung-ho and hurt myself. I've done that before. Ended up at the chiropractor. Not recently, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't think I'll start looking at it now, and then probably next week I'll be like, all right, it's time to do that. See you later. Good morning. Welcome to my channel. This week, tonight, I'm going to take my 3rd shot. So I'm going to just tell you about my past week with shot number 2. Shot number 2 was pretty uneventful. I've been keeping a journal. Somehow I missed doing a whole day. I don't know where that happened. Sometimes I feel like I'm just always writing the same thing over and over again. I'm not going to read you every food either. I know that's probably pretty boring. All right. I don't know. What I've been doing is I've been trying to load my protein early. I'm trying to get like to 50 or 60 with my protein in the morning. So what that means is having a yogurt that has a high protein, like a Greek yogurt, mixing a protein shake in with it. And then that's like pre-breakfast. Having my coffees. Now, if you want to protein up your coffee, you could mix some of that same protein shake in with your coffee. So, like this is the end of my Greek yogurt berries with protein, and I use 1/4 of the 42 Fairlife. So, like the way I do it is I just figure I'm adding 10 protein to that yogurt. Depending on the yogurt can be, and the amount, the yogurt can be 15 protein. So right there, that would be 25 protein. And then after that, I have some type of, I'm struggling to eat it right now, so that's why it's here. This is 2 eggs, 3 ounces of kielbasa, and a little bit of onion, a little bit of butter. Did I say 2 eggs? 2 eggs, 3 ounces of kielbasa, 3 ounces of cauliflower. And it's done up like a hash, which is nice because you can just kind of, there's no knife and fork. You can shovel it. So, and 2 coffees. I've been having iced coffee with some protein shake in it. That gives me a little more. And then dinner will be, a typical dinner where you have like a main meat and a side. Like I've had 2 cheeseburgers. I've had steak. Last night I had lamb in a pita with tzatziki sauce and a little bit of lettuce. That was really good. I was afraid I was gonna, that's one of my favorite things, and I was afraid I was gonna overdo it, but I did not. One thing, not having any major symptoms yet, like actual physical vomiting, has made me very wary to try and keep it that way. So, like if I have something really large, I'm like, you don't need. I'm telling myself you don't need to finish it all. Eat, wait, you know, um, as opposed to the previous gobbling. So some things that I've noticed, at least a couple times this week, my hands and feet have been very cold. Where like I'm in the house and I'm actually getting blankets because my hands and feet are cold. My general overall mood is pretty good. And I will say like maybe 2 days ago, I woke up and my first thought was, I'm hungry. Like I could feel it in my stomach and I could feel the thought in my brain. I could hear the thought in my brain. So that's the first real time where I've actually recognized it as hunger, not a craving, not boredom, just like, oh, I'm hungry. And then it wasn't like I was on a huge drive to eat or anything, an acknowledgement. And, it was breakfast time anyway. So that's the first thing I do is I start eating when I wake up. So that might be helpful to people who are going through nausea. Maybe make it a point to have something that you can eat ready early, like a yogurt. That might be kind of easy to go down. The reason I try and get a lot of my protein in early is because previous times that I've dieted, when you're doing points and you're doing this and you're doing that, by the end of the day, you don't have enough of the good stuff and you have too much of the bad stuff. So, and I mean, I don't even like to say good and bad. Let's just say, you could end up out of balance. And I want to be sure that I'm not like trying to get protein where I can't get protein, and it's late and you're still eating because you didn't reach that number. And also, to be honest, I haven't really been totally reaching my numbers. I'm going to say that my protein average is probably mostly around the high, right around 100, which is too low, but that's how it is, right? I will keep working on that. All right, so my previous weight was 224.4 the last time I reported it, which was a week ago. and I'm down 1.6, so I'm 222.8. My total amount loss is 6.2 pounds. That's in the 2 weeks. So I think that's pretty good. It sounds typical. Sounds like, the first part is inflammation, water, retention, leaving, and then you kind of start evening out. And truth be told, many people do not even lose weight during their first month. So I'm going to take my shot tonight. I'm going to wait till halfway through the week to see how I'm doing and see if that hunger comes back early again. Now, it's not bad to be hungry. You should recognize when you're hungry and when your body's telling you you're hungry. That's part of this process. So what I'd be interested to see is if that hunger signal starts earlier in the week, and that may be an indication to step up to the next level. Another indication of stepping up to the next level is if I am no longer losing weight. But that's a little hard to tell anyway, because the first month you're not really expected to lose that much weight. I have a feeling I'm going to go up, but my original plan was to try and stay on the low doses for as long as possible. I'm thinking this week I'm also going to start doing some bands or some weightlifting or some punching, or something like that. So we'll see what happens. I just thought I'd come on here while I'm struggling to eat my breakfast and give you the update. I'm going to take my shot tonight at the usual time. You don't really need to see that. And the lighting is better during the day. So I may or may not do a midweek. There's not always a lot to report. So I might just change this back to weekly updates. And I will see you next time. Have a great day.